Hello, boys and girls. This screencast will review and help you with your S statements for body paragraph 3. Remember that the S statement is not a summary sentence. Essentially, it is a yes, but statement in which you acknowledge a downside or a possible downside, and then you dismiss it. But we don't actually use the term yes, but in the actual sentences. You may use sentence frames on slides 29 to 30 to help you construct your S statement. The first step is to think of your main idea. Using a piece of paper or another document, please list your main idea from your thesis statement. Then you will list cons about it. If there really isn't a con, you may want to think about the con of the behavior or some aspect that relates to the main idea. Some ideas may be a stretch. Now, when you're looking at the last reasons in our thesis statements, these are most of what the common ones were, and many of them are pretty positive things. So it's going to be difficult to find a negative aspect. These charts that you can also add to and make up on your own will help you think about if there are some downsides or how you're going to convince someone not to look at that part in a negative way. For instance, independence is a common trait that is described for cats. And someone who is going to be fearful of a cat being independent might want a more clinging animal or an animal that would greet them at the door. They might also worry that the pet doesn't actually want to interact with them or need them because they're so independent. So you need to think about just making a list. You may not use all of these words, and they certainly are not constructed as sentences as they are. It's just brainstorming, and then you'll take those ideas to form your sentence. But try to think about for each point, what could be the argument on the other side? Well, some people might want cats to be clingy. The opposite might be that cats really do respect your need for space. In fact, they give the perfect amount of space for owners to settle in their homes. Cats are looking for a time to cuddle, and they will definitely come to you when they see it's a good time to relax. Since cats really know that their owners need their own space and respect that, of course they want attention, but they will come to you when they are ready. And it'll be a win-win situation since you'll be able to interact with your animal when it's good for you. Health benefits. Now, this is common to both cats and dogs and used in slightly different ways, and there really is no downside to increasing your health benefits. But primarily, when it's first listed as a dog's attribute, that it's a positive feature, there are some downsides. Working out with a canine is not the same as the gym, and you might have to go out in different types of bad or inclement weather in order to get your workout in. And if you take a look on the other side, well, it might expose you to inclement weather, but you'll always have a buddy cheering you on. Can't really get that at the gym. And if you are working out and have your pup with you every day, it will make you make sure it's a priority, and you can skip some gym time, but you can't skip a walk with an eager dog. A dog being there will help you stay fit. And moving on to cats, well, cats are known to, in different studies, provide a calmness, a relaxation, and also lower stress levels. There's nothing negative about that. But you have to think back to someone who does not want to have a pet in general and focus on that there is some drawbacks to having that responsibility. Your job in general is to downplay that responsibility and remind that every pet requires care. And there are rewards that come from having a cat that will really outweigh the time you spend in caring for a cat. Entertainment and companionship has been used for cats and dogs, and a downside might be that owners just simply do not have the time to pay attention to a cat or a dog. They might find a cat or a dog too needy and bothersome, maybe troublesome in their busy lives. So some counter arguments might be that when welcomed into a family, it will become routine. It will be easy and effortless once you welcome that pet in, and it won't be a chore to pay attention to your cat or dog. In fact, other family members can also help with attending to the attention needs if you happen to be busy. And once that cat or dog becomes part of your family, spending time with a cat or dog will not be a chore. You'll see how much it brightens your life, and every family member looks forward to spending time with that animal. Now, there's no downsides to happiness, but a reluctant owner that does not want to get a cat or a dog might be set in their ways and comfortable having a petless life or just not having a cat or a dog. In fact, they may not realize that owning or adopting a pet could bring them joy in their lives. That doesn't mean they're sad and it doesn't mean they're upset. It just means they don't know about the happiness that they're missing out on. So it's your job to remind them. While you may think you are content, which means happy and satisfied, no one is truly happy until they know the love of an adoring pet. And while you might be happy, that happiness can always be increased. In fact, it can grow exponentially when you're adopting a pet. We've talked about this one before, about animals being protective, primarily dogs, and there are some downsides in barking or being too aggressive. There are ways around that in which dogs can be trained or rewarded for appropriate behavior. But in effect, that protection is a very small price to pay, any negative behaviors for that protection, to have an instant security guard with you always. Teaching responsibilities works well with cats and dogs, and there's no downside to teaching responsibility. But the behavior of taking care of a pet can be negative if an owner is considering that they may not have time to do so and want to enlist the help of their children. They may not have time to take care of a pet daily and will look towards other family members to also help out. Now, that might be a negative part if a parent thinks that a child will not help out or other family members. So you have to convince your reader that every pet requires responsibility and care, and that care can really be shared among family members. Children will be motivated to help as special assigned caregivers, maybe motivated with an allowance if needed. And teaching that responsibility and any work that goes into it will really teach children lifelong lessons. They won't really be chores anymore. They'll be fun when it does help and benefit an animal. In the presentation, you'll see the red con on one side and the green pro on the other side, where you're going to turn the argument around for the counter argument. And I have a few samples. I also have some examples where the S statement becomes either 2, maybe 3 sentences if needed, so that it flows well. I can understand the point of view that cats can be very independent while owners are near. But all it takes to grab a cat's attention for cuddle time is to sit down and relax. Now, that could have ended there, but it was extended a little bit, and you feel free that once you write that, if you want to put a little spin or style into it, you are welcome to summarize the end of your paragraph. Voila, you will have a furry friend ready for petting on your lap instantly. A little descriptive scene, teeny one. This one's a little longer. When I was writing it, it did not condense into one sentence, and if it did, it would be a run-on. So it was best to have one portion with the con sentence stem here and one portion with the positive spin in another sentence. Some people may think that it is too difficult to enlist help from household members to help with the daily care of a cat or a dog. Now, I stopped there, and enlist means to get that help, but then stretched it out. And once I stretched it out, I realized I had to make it into 2 sentences. So I thought, well, what would the negative part be here? What would really be scary to someone who does not want to adopt a cat or a dog? And so I thought about it some more and came up with this. Some people may think it's too difficult to enlist, that means to get, help from household members to help with the daily care of a cat or a dog. And think, now here's the part that really gets at someone who is afraid of this, that they will be left alone to care for the cat and dog's every need. But here's where you're going to turn it around. Once the cat or dog is a part of the family, there'll be many ways that everyone will strengthen their responsibility skills once the family has a new best friend. And then I added who needs them, because that's really how you're going to be able to have other people care for the animal. When they realize that they are needed and important, they'll want to help out with that family pet. Regardless of the fact that you may think you are happy now being without a cat or dog, in my experience, happiness can exponentially grow after you open your heart and home to a cat or dog. Boys and girls, please take a look at your thesis reason number 3, and please construct a chart for a con and a possible pro on the other side to have a counter argument in which you will acknowledge the negative or the possible negative, and then have a counter argument for why it is not a big deal and why it certainly should not keep you from adopting a cat or a dog. I look forward to your arguments and counter arguments. Thank you for your hard work every day.